Hello and welcome to FiMFiction Spotlight. This video's theme is emotional stories. First up is Her Own Pony, and yeah, you've probably noticed the weird score up top, so let me explain. IC stands for It's Complicated. The first few chapters are 10 out of 10 masterpieces, absolute masterworks that were probably forged from stardust or something. But then the fic starts to fall apart, and by the end it's more of a 4 or 5 out of 10 fic. The author clearly lost interest partway through. However, those first few chapters are honestly required reading for anyone who wants to see the best stuff that this fandom has to offer, so I definitely recommend at least those first few chapters. It's about one of Pinky's clones surviving, and I think you can extrapolate from there to some degree. If you want a more in-depth, spoilery review, you can go check out Changeling number 32's review, which I'll link in the description. Next is Some of Their Parts, which is a short fic about the princesses merging into a single superpowered being to fight an ancient beast. Except it's not about that at all. It's about the aftermath of that and their realization that once they defuse, they'll die, and their inner struggle about that. Definitely worth a read. Third is Sweetie.log, written in a highly unconventional way that includes chat boxes and lines of code. This is a friendship is optimal fic that somehow makes you feel for a robot that might not even be sentient, which is honestly a feat all on its own, unconventional presentation aside. Go ahead and give it a shot. It's pretty short. Fourth on the list is Gift, a story about a pony returning to Ponyville after a very, very long absence. It's among the most emotional journeys I've ever had while reading a fanfiction, and I can't really say much more about it without spoiling things. Although, a warning, if you're uncomfortable with depictions of suicide, then steer clear, since there is a depiction of suicide in this fic. Next up is In Memory Of, a story wherein an aging unicorn Twilight continues to write letters to Celestia up until her final days, and from that premise alone I'm sure you can tell that this is quite the emotional journey. Last up we have The Only Day, and honestly I'm just gonna read the description to you since it sums up the premise pretty well. Wednesday the 26th. Autumn Paradise started work on the farm today. I think she'll fit right in. Wednesday, the 26th. Autumn Paradise started work on the farm today. She seems a little tense, but boy does she ever know her way around an apple tree. Wednesday, the 26th. Autumn Paradise started work on the farm today. She says she's spent the last 2 days here, but I don't remember seeing her at all. Wednesday, the 26th. Autumn Paradise started work on the farm today and wouldn't stop crying. She says she can't find a way out. From that description alone, you might assume that this is a horror story, and while it is very dark, it's not horror. It's a huge, massive tearjerker. I recommend this one more than anything else on the list, except for perhaps the first few chapters of Her Own Pony. Speaking of emotional stuff and fanfictions, last week I posted the first 2 parts of my own, and it was featured on the site for 3 days straight, getting thousands of views and hundreds of upvotes and comments. Needless to say, I was massively overwhelmed and still kind of am. I'll leave a link to my profile in the description if you want to check out stuff that I've written on the site. Speaking of links in the description, you can support my Patreon or GoFundMe down there, and you can also find the full version of today's outro there as well. Take care, everyone.
It's derivative to say you're integral to me. We're off on our own tangents, fading constantly. I'll forget, like my college calc.